as I got more and more into comedy and more into sketch, I also got way more interested in science. And this was also simultaneous with my best friend on the sketch group is a huge TV and science nerd. So like he and I would write, like a sketch we wrote together was called Now That You're President. A little bit unfocused of a game, but basically it was a guy who just gotten, he's the new president of the United States. And they're like, okay, Mr. President, now that you're president, we are going to tell you all of the conspiracy secrets. It was basically like and
the big meaning that you think every president has.
Yeah. So basically the secrets
the
were
aliens come through the door.
Yeah. So it was like the first one is like ghosts are real, and they're always fucking you. And they were like, and he's like, what? And they're like, here is an infrared footage we have of this room right now.
And it's just filled
and
with
it was
ghosts.
just basically like, yes, that is the ghost of Ben Franklin skull fucking you. Why do you? And it was like, why do you think you? Oh, it's like why do you think you have to blink every 3 seconds? It's to get the ghost jizz out of your eyes. The ghosts are just always fucking you. I love that.
That's
it
like
was
a
so
really
fun.
twisted Final Fantasy Spirits Within. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
and it was
really great.
But the thing is, though, it didn't end there. So then the rest of the sketch was, God, this is a good sketch. I like it.
I was gonna say
that's fucking
your bad
great.
sketch is
Right.
It's not like bad. It's a good sketch.
Yeah.
The stillness in the room when I explained my quantum jump versus what we're feeling right now. Your bad is better than my good. That's all I'm
hey,
saying.
Well, it was me and I'll just describe
go
quickly
ahead.
the other beats.
Please, yeah.
It was it was 9/11 was not terrorists. It was aliens. More specifically, Alf. And then we literally this is terrible. We photoshopped
Oh my
a
gosh.
picture of Alf driving the cockpit of a plane with the burning Twin Towers.
Oh my gosh.
And then we were like, and that flight on board Flight 93, instead of, so it was like the famous like cell phone call that was recorded on Flight 93. It's like, instead of like let's roll, the recording actually was, hi honey, Alf is on this plane. But the government just changed it to let's roll.
Why did you fly the plane?
Alf is here. It was like Alf is on this plane. Alf is real, and he's here. And then the third beat that I remember, I'll end this sketch thing here. Was
9/11 is just the middle one.
Oh,
the
I
9/11
know.
joke is just the bridge.
I feel
Sandwich.
so bad because like you have to understand like 9/11 jokes among like sketch comedians.
Oh yeah, no,
are like trite at this point.
no, we should
We're
definitely
terrible people.
Yes, and I also want to explain because you were in New York when this is happening.
Yeah,
so
I'm in New York.
when I do want to like I always because I remember going back to what I understood as a W.C. Fields quote, which says, "If you want to make people laugh, dress a guy up like an old lady and push him down the stairs. If you want to make a comedian laugh, push an old lady down the stairs." And I go back to that quote every time because when 9/11 happened around New York, you felt like you could not be funny ever again. You felt like we'll never need comedy in this world ever again. The world has just gotten so crazy and stupid and serious. No one's going to want to go out at night and go to a comedy club ever again. That's what it felt like. And then the kind of like guilty pleasure of like the world kind of like moving on, not in a way that was disrespectful, but just in a natural way that the world works. All of a sudden you could start doing shows again, and all of a sudden this guilty pleasure button was in the back, I think, of every comedian, but definitely those in New York who felt like for weeks that their entire devotion to an art form was obsolete because of world events.
Yes.
So I want to be very clear about that because what you're saying is not offensive to me. It makes total sense that sketch comedians, especially college sketch comedians,
And it
would
becomes,
pull that trigger once they felt like they could.
It becomes an act of catharsis more than anything.
Absolutely.
Especially if that's your art. How else do you deal with it but to satirize it in some way?
Absolutely.
To rationalize it, to wrap your head around it.
And especially if you're young, it feels ballsy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about it also is like with and like I mean going a lot of conversations now like, well, is rape funny? When can you do a rape joke? When can you do a 9/11 joke? I'll say like for that sketch, not a perfect sketch, but like that joke was not a 9/11 joke. That joke wasn't 9/11 as like that wasn't saying thousands of people dying is funny. The joke is saying the joke is a joke about conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Right.
Now you could have used any you could have used the Hindenburg disaster. You could have used other kind of conspiracy theories, but
what is the conspiracy theory behind Hindenburg?
No, there's nothing. No,
that guy with the cigarette.
There's no. Oh, right.
Also Alf.
Yeah, it's also out.
Because it only came to light recently. There are Titanic conspiracies. I never knew there was Titanic conspiracies.
Really?
There's like really weird. There's like several, and they're weird. They're very weird. Titanic
Iceberg Mafia?
conspiracies. No, the weirdest one.
Not
is the
Iceberg
one that sticks-
Mafia?
No, Iceberg.
Are you sure?
6. There's 6 conspiracy theories. Now, there's Iceberg Mafia. I forgot that one. That's number 1. A bunch of Italian icebergs who don't want to make a decent living. Just go out and lean on people. Lean on boats for money.
Why don't we get in the way of some boats? These boats ain't doing anything.
Hey, you look like you got a nice boat here, huh? Maybe you don't want to sink sometime?
Maybe you don't want us being away of it,
What do you give them?
Maybe you
what
want a
do they
nice
want?
clear path.
That's my question.
Yeah, give me some liquid nitrogen and we'll call it a day. Liquid nitrogen, I can turn anything into ice.
New Zamboni.
yeah, polish me up with that.
I'd like some penguins living on me. What do you say to that? That'd be cute. I want to be one of them cute icebergs.
But lo and behold, I look over my shoulder and no penguins are here.
Yeah.
I got no penguins
Well,
here,
look at
so I think it's maybe somebody's in charge of getting me some penguins, and maybe they fucked up and didn't give me any penguins.
Or maybe somebody's transporting some zoo animals on a zoo boat, and I just happen to be in the way of that zoo boat. Maybe. What about that?
Yeah, and I honestly, I mean, I don't want to, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I find that one far-fetched.
I think that's the first draft of Life of Pi, too, right?
It was Iceberg Mafia, and then
the
he
notes
was like,
came
no,
back.
no, yeah.
The notes came back. They're like, Souther.
Souther.
Make it take place more south.
What if it's not an iceberg? What if it's a tiger?
No, there's a really stupid conspiracy, which is like there was a ship that was being built that was as big as the Titanic, and somehow there was like an insurance thing where they fucked up building it, and the insurance wouldn't cover it, and so they swapped hulls. So the hull of the Titanic was actually a damaged warship, and that this warship is actually the Titanic. That's one weird conspiracy theory. You're welcome.
I'm sticking with Iceberg Mafia.
That really shocked me because there haven't been any other sound effects.
No drops.
So
Jacob, he knows his power and he reserves it well.
great.
I'll give the audience a moment to clean up their own brains.
Yeah, people are just totally swerving off the road at this point.
What the fuck was that? 2 ships.
Oh, my worldview is destroyed.
Okay, so in order was the final test of Red Robot Chicken like a Star Wars
Wait,
test
hold
that was
on.
like
I gotta finish
60
the
questions?
sketch.
Oh, finish the sketch.
Cause
Yeah, so
Oh, we're
third
still
beat.
on the
Third beat.
So actually,
So
I
third big
think the
secret.
Alf was the third beat, but the third beat secret is that this is kind of a de-heightening. JFK was not assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. He was also not assassinated by someone on the grassy knoll. He was assassinated by the grassy knoll. And then we cut to a Photoshop picture of a knoll with googly eyes and a mouth. And we were like, the knoll is currently in custody and being questioned for the assassination.
It's so ridiculous. What's funny is that, like, looking back on that, like, tonally, it's ridiculous, but it actually makes the 9/11 thing really hang out to dry. Like, everything else is so much sillier.
Yeah. It's really
But it's
silly.
Alf.